Hello! Today you will learn a quick way how to animate stuff in After Effects to the rhythm of music using one simple expression or a combination between expressions and keyframes. So let's get started. Here's the expression itself, and first we've got to figure out the BPM, or how long it takes in After Effects or in seconds to play one bar in our soundtrack. So here I'm using the Antidote, pretty sick song. And I recommend this website to figure out the BPM. You just have to press a key to the rhythm of music to figure it out. Sometimes it takes a few tries. And once you got that right, you have to figure out how long it takes for each beat or each bar to play out in seconds, which After Effects understands. The problem with this technique is that we're rounding down or rounding up an irrational number. So with each cycle you'll be losing or adding a fraction of a time, and if you've got a composition that's playing out for tens of minutes or hours, you'll definitely notice that elements on the screen will stop playing correctly to the beat, will start to offset. But within 5 minutes and 30 seconds I haven't seen once whether something has been playing off beat or not. So I've created 3 examples. One is rotating to the beat. Let's play it from here. We've got jumping to the beat. And swiping to the beat. So how does it work? Let's go into the rotation parameter. And here, these 2 values control in degrees how the value or how the expression ramps up the rotation parameter from to what, in this case the rotation. So we want from 0 to 359 degrees. If you swap these 2 values around, it will just rotate, but the other way. No. Then, here I'm multiplying the time times 2, but if we remove that and just stick with time, here I've added a lengthy string, including 2 slider parameters in the effects controls, where you can control the speed and the offset of the animation in the effects panel, that you don't have to mess around with the expression each time. Here, and if you want to see if it works at the very end after 5 minutes, tell me if you can see a difference. So the next technique is to use keyframes and a different expression, the loopOutDuration. Now what this does is it loops over the keyframes between the first and last keyframe, but the last keyframe is more important. If this amount of time is longer than or shorter than your keyframes, then the initial portion of your animation is going to get trimmed. Meaning, let's change that to 1 bar, 1.454545, space behind a comma. Let's actually start looking at what we're doing. So here you can see that it's looping correctly, but let's say our animation is much shorter than this amount of time. You can see that it stops before completing the cycle. So to change that, all you have to do is just move the slider until you see the next loop, in this case right here, right there. Just move the keyframe to that position. You can see that now you've got a full range of motion. And just do it the other way around if the keyframe's too far out. Just bring it back in until you see 2 frames with the same position. That means it's 1 frame before, and just make the adjustment so that it plays in accordance to the time. Now here, it's a bit annoying that you can't use parameters to control in normal values, whether you want to multiply it by 2 or 3. I mean, you could add a string that multiplies this value with a certain parameter here to get what you want. I've just quickly divided it by 2 just to see how it would look like played out faster. The problem with changing this value is that you can't keyframe keyframes in After Effects. So whatever you keyframe from here to here, that's going to stay fixed within the loop. And if you change this value here, it's going to either trim the animation down from the last keyframe backwards, or you're going to have to wait, or the object is going to be stuck in one position until the animation starts playing out. So if I shorten this time down, you can see it's only playing the top portion. It's not playing the entire range of motion. So if we see at the end,
Give me that.
let's place the arc.
Give me that.
It plays great. So the last example I've done is like a object swiping from left to right. Actually this. But instead of degrees, we've got the amount of pixels it moves from the left side to the right side, so that's the only thing you have to change. You can swap these around if you want it to play backwards. And here with the strings, I've added the 2 additional parameters to this layer, this speed and the offset, because even if you change this on the timeline here, it's not going to change the animation at all. So, what's going on? So you have to change it using these parameters here. So let's speed it up by 2, or by 4, or by half. And with the slider you can control whether you want it, because what happens is with each new beat it starts playing from the left to the right at the very beginning of the screen, but if you want it to hit perfectly on the beat, let's say halfway through the screen, you just have to control this value here. That's a bit too much to be very precise. 0.3 maybe. So now it plays here on every beat. This is where the object is, not at the very beginning. So I hope you now learn and you know how to animate stuff to the beat. Very simple way. Not the most precise, but for anything music related, if it's within 5 minutes, I'm sure you'll have no problem. Hope you learned something today, and I'll see you in the next one.